Please.
Only recently, this House of Representatives had cause to celebrate the very gallant men and women of the Nigerian Armed Forces in the execution of the war against insurgency. And Mr. Speaker, sir, during that motion, it was acknowledged that the Nigerian Army could not have achieved what it is they had achieved on ground without the support of the Nigerian Air Force. And so, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is with a very heavy heart today that I join the rest of the world to mourn a very unfortunate and costly mistake. Mr. Speaker, the truth of the matter is that what this incident has done is that it has brought to the fore the very ugly reality of war. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, my colleagues have spoken to the professionalism and the expertise of the Nigerian Air Force and the Nigerian Armed Forces. But, Mr. Speaker, even as we mourn this very costly mistake, Mr. Speaker, what has been thrown up is the fact that what we face today is very unconventional warfare. Because in regular warfare, the Air Force pilot will be given his coordinates, he will be told where to go, it will be verified, and he will bomb the place with 99% accuracy. But this is a war that has to be executed by intelligence gathering. And unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, so somewhere in the chain of the intelligence gathering, there was a gap that led to this very costly mistake. Mr. Speaker, very, very sad reality of war is that there is collateral damage, and that unfortunately the people who sometimes the armed forces seeks to protect become cannon fodder in that war. And so today, of course, what does the motion seek? The motion seeks an investigation. But for me, my belief is that this investigation should not only be about whether it was pilot error or whether it was equipment, but the entire intelligence architecture has to be looked at. The entire coordination between all our security agencies have to be looked at, and a clear understanding of the Nigerian people that indeed the Nigerian Armed Forces and indeed the military of our country stands on those walls to ensure that we have security and live our lives in the way that we want to. So while I commiserate with the families, it is also a time for me to commiserate with the gallant men and women of the Nigerian Air Force, because I know that this should not take away from them the feeling with which they face and try to execute this war against terrorism, but for us to recognize that even though they have made a very costly mistake on the battleground, that the Nigerian people still stand with them, and we ask that they should not lose the steam with which they execute this war, because their constant commitment to executing this war is the guarantee that we as a people live our lives in freedom. Let me in conclusion again say that whatever the investigation that has been carried out by the executive arm of government is, that this House of Representatives must go to the theater of violence and
silence, please, honorable members, please, order. Silence, please, honorable members, please.
Must go to the theater of violence and show our solidarity with the families, but we should also not tear down the very gallant efforts of the Nigerian Armed Forces, because they are indeed our armed forces, and it is our support that they require to do the good work that they're doing in defense of our homeland. Thank you very much.